Mike Owens with Inside Fighting, joined today by Farid Basharat, who returns to action at UFC 320, facing Chris Gutierrez in Las Vegas, Nevada. Farid, always a pleasure, my man. How are things with you today?
Everything is great. Thank you. Good to see you again, Mike. Feel like I always have to speak with you at least once or twice before my fight, so good to catch up.
I mean, technically we're on a winning streak, so call me a good luck charm all you want. But yeah,
Yeah,
we were talking a little bit off camera. Then you're in Florida preparing for this one.
yeah. I'm in Florida, Coconut Creek, American Top Team. I'm staying in the dorms. About 8 weeks now. I've been staying here, so basically the duration of the camp. So yeah, I love it here. Training, the quality, everything is perfect.
How many camps have you done out of American Top Team, and why is that the gym you feel is best for you at this moment?
This is my second camp, but I've actually been here for maybe like 15 months.
Hmm.
So I've been kind of inactive. So like usually it would be more camps. I've done a bunch of training. It's just the fights haven't materialized the way I would have planned. And why American Top Team? Because I was in Las Vegas and Las Vegas was very good. And my coaches at the time, Jake Shields and Dewey Cooper, they were amazing. They still are. Like every time I go to Vegas, I catch up with them. I train with them. But we couldn't align our schedules
Hmm.
perfectly. They had a lot of things going in their life. Dewey was working with Bronson Gunn at the time, who was fighting Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. So that was a big commitment of his. Jake was doing a lot of traveling with and his podcast and stuff like that too. So we just took a decision where we were like we have to kind of like prioritize our training, and so we decided to make the move here to American Top Team. Me and my brother both at the same time.
And there's also a lot of high level bodies around your weight class when you think about the flyweight champion, Alexandre Pantoja. I think it was Java post a picture of
Yeah,
him, Pantoja, and Adriano Moraes, the former one championship champion. But there's
yeah,
a lot of high level bodies from different organizations and different weight classes training out of that
that's right.
gym.
That's right. A lot of high level bodies, like you mentioned, Pantoja, Adriano Moraes. We've got Danny Sabatello, Movsar Evloev, so many guys. And then even the good thing about this gym is like we all train on the same mat at the same time. So I even learn a lot from the lightweights, welterweights, middleweights, and so on. So you got guys like I've shared the mat with like Arman Sarukian, Dustin Poirier. There's some good like middleweight, Johnny Ebelin,
Mm.
Marvin Vittori. So yeah, like you're always on the same mats and you're always picking stuff up from everybody here.
UFC 320 Ankalaev versus Pereira 2 is this Saturday, and we've teamed up with our friends at DraftKings to get you closer to the action. If you're a new customer, go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and sign up using our promo code Inside Fighting. New customers who bet $5 will receive $200 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Chris Gutierrez is your next assignment. What do you make of him? Give me your scouting report on your next opponent, what you think he does well, and maybe an area or two that you're looking to exploit.
Chris Gutierrez he's obviously a very good fighter. He's been around for a long time. He's a proper veteran. I believe this is going to be his 30th fight, so he's had over double the experience I've had. Um, what can I say? He's good, man. He's really good. He's a bit of a specialist in his realm. Like, of course, his thing is he moves well and he kicks well. I just think I do that also better than him. So the
Mhm.
one thing I think he does really well, I probably do better than him also. And then on top of that, I think I can box better than him. I think I can wrestle better than him. I think I can grapple better than him. And the guy is really good. What can I say? The guy's really good. Former almost top 10, I think. Yeah, it's just that I'm better, and it's nothing against Chris. And it's really nothing to do with him as far as like when I'm going out there to fight, I feel I've gone into a stage of my career where I'm so confident in my abilities. I don't really care who the opponent is, and I don't really care the circumstances. Like as we saw in my last fight,
Mm.
the guy missed weight by whatever amount, and I was just like, maybe it was stupid. In hindsight, it was probably a stupid thing to do, but at the time, I was just like, man, I'm just so much better than these guys. I feel I don't care who the opponent is, whatever. Like I know I'm gonna beat them because I believe in my own skills that much.
It was funny you mentioned the leg kicks because I was going to bring that up because that's a signature weapon of yours and it's a signature weapon of Chris's. So is this fight almost about who can implement their leg kick better on the other? Do you think that's going to come into this
I
matchup?
don't think so. No, no, not necessarily. I imagine it's probably something he wants to do since he's done it every single fight. As far as whether I'll do it, I always say this. I always say it always depends on what my opponent gives me. I may use it, I may not use it. That's the good thing about having a deep toolbox is like I may get in the cage in front of him, stand opposite him, and he could change it up completely on me. I could plan for low kicks. He changes it up on me, and then I got to adjust. I got to change it. So I have a really deep toolbox, and I can adjust. So I think that's probably my biggest strength is my well-roundedness and my ability to adjust to fights.
I suppose in some ways, Chris, you could argue, has been in the position that you want to be in terms of he's had a number next to his name. I don't think he's still in the top 15, but he has had a ranking previously.
Mm.
He's had a main event against Song Yadong previously, where obviously he come up short, but a main event in the UFC is still a main event.
Mhm.
This feels like the perfect opponent, and I imagine the type of opponent that you wanted next.
Yeah, it makes sense. If I'm honest, ideally I wanted a guy with a ranking.
Hmm.
That didn't quite materialize. So Chris is probably the next best guy outside the rankings that I could ask for. So, like I said, man, he's really good. If you look at his even before the UFC, he was fighting Timur Valiev. He had two fights with him in WSOF. Like that was around the time I started training MMA. Period. So it shows his experience. He's been around for a long time. But you know, I feel like I think in the beginning of my UFC career, the one thing you could have potentially argued against me on paper was experience. I feel like even that's gone out the window now because I've just turned 28 and I've had enough fights, and my mentality is just I've really settled into my style, into the sport, into the UFC. So yeah, man, good opponent, but it's just I feel like I'm different caliber.
What do you feel like you need to do to get a fight in the rankings? I mean, we've just seen David Martinez get a short notice opportunity against Rob Font, and in two fights in the UFC, he's ranked number 11 in the world. Do you feel like you need to kind of take one of those short notice opportunities, or do you feel like if you handle business on October 4th, then a top 15 fight's next?
Yeah, firstly, I think if I beat Gutierrez and I beat him convincingly, I'm definitely getting ranked. I think it would be criminal not to rank me after this fight, but
Mm,
who knows? But also regarding the short notice stuff, like to be fair, like I just don't announce it obviously because the fight doesn't actually end up happening. But I've asked for short notice fights.
yeah.
Like for example, I asked I asked for a short notice fight against Mario Bautista when Rob Font pulled out in New Jersey. I
Mm.
called my manager about that one. Ended up going to Patchy Mix. I think there was another one. So behind the scenes, I am here. I'm making these call outs and stuff. It's not quite happening. Sometimes it's timing. Sometimes it's luck. Sometimes UFC have their plan. But I'm trying not to worry about all that external stuff. Focus on myself. Focus on my training. I know if I get the performance that I can get, that I think I'll get on October 4th, all those opportunities will be right in front of me.
The title fight is on the line on the same night that you're fighting the division between Mirab and Corey. First and foremost, have you crossed paths with either man? Because obviously I know that you were based out of Las Vegas where Mirab fights out of. So have you ever got any cross training in with either?
Yeah, when I first went to Vegas, I trained with Marab a little bit. And then the last time I trained with him was before my UFC debut and before his Piotr Yan fight.
Hmm.
I think we were fighting within like a week of each other, so we sparred each other a couple times for that, so that was good. And with Sanhagen, I've never trained. I think I'm probably crossed. I've seen him about in the PI once or twice, but yeah, that's the only work I've gotten with him.
So what's your read on this fight? How do you see it playing out? Do you think Corey can give Mirab problems, or do you think it's business as usual for Mirab?
Yeah, no, I think Corey can definitely give him problems. It's just that right now Marab is so hard to bet against him because he's been looking so good. Safe money's on Marab, but listen, Corey's good, man. He's experienced. He strikes extremely well, very dangerous, dynamic, and his grappling has been improving. His wrestling has been improving. It's just with Marab, it's not so much a skill versus skill fight. He's got that X factor when it comes to his physicality and his conditioning. So yeah, it's difficult. Safe money's on Marab, but either way, I'll be paying close attention because I don't think I'm too many fights away from those kind of fights.
Yeah, 100%. I want to change the subject a little bit, and I want to bring you back to something that I saw when I was looking at your Instagram today before we jumped on. Am I right in saying that you're sponsoring the building of an orphanage in Afghanistan?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
It's it's a charity, a family, a friend. I'm sorry, a friend of mine. Him and his family have started this charity in Afghanistan. It's basically an orphanage, and they started out with four orphans, and now it's after a couple of years they have 140 orphans now, and they've started a school for them, but they don't have the best facilities for them right now. So what? Hopefully, the contributions you guys make and that I help can go towards building an actual physical school with books and pens and whiteboards and stuff like that. So it's called Future for Orphans. I have the link in my bio on Instagram. And yeah, I would love for everyone to contribute to it what they can, because it is a really good cause. And if you just see the pictures and the videos of the little kids and stuff, I don't know. For me, it's so like it's so it's very heartwarming, for me, maybe because I'm from Afghanistan too, but for me, if it was from anywhere in the world, orphans, I feel like the group of people that need the most help, they're just kids without parents. So to give them the education would be amazing.
I imagine that's a cause quite close to your heart because you moved to the UK from Afghanistan at quite a young age. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I was 3 years old when I came to the UK.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So do you have
yeah,
any
yeah,
recollection of kind of your early part of your life in Afghanistan? I know that you've obviously gone back, but
yeah.
is that
A little
something?
bit.
Yeah.
My recollection is not too much. My recollection is more from when I would visit than when we were kids, like in the summers and stuff. We would go back, but I remember a little bit because it wasn't just Afghanistan. So I was born in Afghanistan, and then, long story short, there was a big war
Yeah.
where the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in the 80s, and that caused a lot of migration from Afghanistan. And they moved over the border into Pakistan, where they created Afghan refugee camps. So my family for years lived in a refugee camp, started out at tents and mud huts and that kind of stuff. And I've got a few pictures. Maybe one day I'll post them. Me and Javid when we were kids.
Well,
But yeah, the yeah, it's sometimes I look back on it and it makes for a good story, some good nostalgia. But yeah, it hits a soft spot for me
yeah.
because in some ways I can relate.
Yeah. 100%, mate. And I'm glad that I've given you the opportunity to talk a little bit about that, and hopefully people watching this
Thank you.
interview can
Yeah.
can donate, and that goes to a good cause. Last question from me. Won't take up too much of your time. When Dana walks in the media room post fight and is asked about your fight, what do you want him to say? What do you want his comments to be on Farid Basharat versus Chris Gutierrez?
I just want, to be honest with you, realistically speaking, I just want some recognition, and I want to be put in the limelight. I want to be put in conversations for top 15 and bigger fights. And for me, I would love for Dana to say like that's a guy who'd want to look out for, like, for the title picture. Do you know what I mean? A couple more
Mm.
fights, and because that's what I'm hoping. I hope I get this one out of the way, get a good win, then get another, like, someone close to top 10, and then realistically speaking, if I get the performances that I feel I can get, I think within 3 or 4 fights, I'm knocking on title contention. You know, so yeah, I would love that. And one thing I would love to do actually is I've been in the UFC a couple of years and I still haven't fought in UFC London. So this next one, I'm hoping to finally fight on UFC London. It'll be like a homecoming for me.
Perfect timing. I mean, you get a big win on
Yeah,
October, and then the third, fourth week of March, where they generally have that event, that would probably line up
yeah.
perfectly for you. Have you got a name in mind? Someone in the top, someone in that 11 to 15 range to call out for London?
No, nobody yet.
Mm,
Because we have to see how the fight plans out. There's still a
yeah.
few fights in the bantamweight division. I'm going to shoot for the highest ranked guy, of course, because
Mhm.
I feel like right now I can contest for those number one contender fights. With those top five guys, I feel I could beat them. So for me, the higher the ranking, the better. But first, I got to take care of Chris Gutierrez. He deserves my full respect. He's a game opponent, so I'll take care of that challenge first, and then I'll have by fight night I'll have somebody in mind for the mic.
Well said, mate. Farad, always a pleasure catching up. Thank you for your time. Have a great and safe rest of camp, and best of luck for the next fight.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate your time.